Hey guys, what's up? This is gonna be a little different from our traditional movie reviews. You wanna know why? Because it isn't really a movie review, it's a spoilerific discussion of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Why are we going straight to a spoiler review, you ask? Well, there are two answers to that question. One, pretty much everyone that has already seen this movie, which is, well, I don't want to offend you if you haven't seen the movie, but a lot of people have already seen this movie. And two, we don't do very many spoiler reviews on this channel.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Might as well just make one.
And it's
especially
hard to talk about this
especially,
movie
yeah, and we just do a lot of general movie reviews that are kind of boring as hell because we don't even get into the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, let's just get straight into the good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
First, there are obviously, what's the word here? This movie is a little bit polarizing among fans. Critics really love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you're wondering which train of thought we're on. Well, for me, this is probably one of my favorite Star Wars movies of all time. I loved this movie.
I really enjoyed it too. I definitely got to watch it a second time, but coming out initially out of the theater, I was like blown away by it, and I enjoyed most of it. There are aspects of it that could have used some work, but other than that, like I really, really love this movie, and
for me,
I'm more on the side of that than
for me, it's like
other things.
I feel like this movie had more noticeable flaws than The Force Awakens, but at the same time, I feel like the amazing jaw-dropping moments of this movie are so great that it puts it above Force Awakens for me. And that's really saying something when, like, yeah, it has more flaws, but I like it more still anyway.
Rian Johnson takes a lot more risks creatively with this movie, which I'm glad Disney let him do, than J.J. Abrams did with The Force Awakens, which, understandable. The Force Awakens, you want to play it safe. You're trying to reintroduce the franchise, reintroduce these characters, introduce new characters, all that stuff. And The Force Awakens did that brilliantly, but Rian Johnson does a great job of continuing that story and adding some new elements to stuff.
Yeah, and the thing that's great about this movie is, like, it's almost like a middle finger to, like, people who are like so quick to jump on the hate bandwagon, like Force Awakens sucks. It's just like a new. It's like, and then it's just like Force Awakens is part of a whole that has not been formed yet. It is part of a 3-part trilogy of movies that is one long continuous story, and this movie almost makes you look back on The Force Awakens and be like, oh, because of what they did in The Force Awakens, what they do in this movie surprises you even more, and it almost feels like that was the plan from the beginning. I don't know if it was. I don't know how much this was Rian Johnson's vision. I know he had a lot of creative say in some aspects of this movie, but looking at this and The Force Awakens now combined, it's still not a complete picture, but it makes you almost appreciate The Force Awakens even more, which in turn also makes me like this movie even more. And this movie also has like a continuity error fix almost on the same level as Rogue One, in my opinion. And since this is a spoiler review, why the hell not just jump right into it, you know? I'm gonna start with something that, I don't know, maybe people might not start with because it's towards the really very end. But Luke Skywalker's journey in this movie is really not what you would expect. For me, I was a little bit less surprised than maybe a lot of people were.
Yeah, same here.
I kind of had a feeling I knew what the kind of direction they were going to go with Luke, because I knew they were going to kind of go in a darker, more grizzled direction, and that's what they did. Some people weren't expecting that.
I didn't necessarily think they were going to turn him evil. I just thought he'd be more bitter. He'd be more like, the Jedi are kind of wrong about stuff, and that's exactly what he was.
Yeah, I expected him to take on more like a gray Jedi type thing, which is sort of what he did.
He says there's like no distinctive side between
the Force
good and evil.
Doesn't belong to the Jedi or the Sith. It just exists.
Yeah.
It is its own thing, and everyone just needs to respect the fucking Force.
Yeah.
Which is an awesome
And
direction
he understandably doesn't want to continue the Jedi Order after what happened with Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. And you learn more about why he, murdered everyone in Luke's, when Luke was training him and other people to be Jedi.
and that's another thing where we still don't know the whole picture. We still don't know exactly what happened.
We just know he took some people with him and killed the rest, is what Luke said. And you don't know if those people are the Knights of Ren, and you don't really see them, so you don't know. I have to watch it again. I thought we might have seen him in the background in Snoke's.
Yeah, I thought maybe in Snoke's Fortress I saw some cloaked figures that weren't the Praetorian Guards. I thought might have been Knights of Ren, but we'll have to see about that later. But Luke, at the end of this movie, him becoming one with the Force, at first I was really kind of sad. I'm like, oh man, I was hoping he would make it out of this one at least. But I mean, I knew that probably he was going to die before the trilogy's capped off and ends and stuff. But it's still, it was sad. But at the same time, it was really fitting, and this is where the continuity error fix kind of comes in. A lot of people ask, hey, how come some Jedi just die like regular people and they're just blah, and other Jedi just kind of poof vanish? When I was a kid, I used to say they just turn into clothes.
Yeah.
It's why is that? And this movie it sort of answers that in a backdoor way. It's well, when you think about what Luke, Obi-Wan, and Yoda have in common in the way that they died, is that all of them had accepted death, accepted them. They'd given themselves up to the Force. They were at peace. This is how they wanted their journey to end, and they basically, it was their choice to go at that moment.
Yeah.
So I feel like if Luke really didn't feel like it was his time, he wouldn't have died. It's pretty weird, but it's kind of weird how the Force works, because it's Luke could have kept himself alive if he wanted to, almost, is what I feel like. But he chose not to. He's I'm just going to give myself up to the Force right now. I'm at peace. I've made peace with my life and my mistakes, and I'm just going, and I've done what I can to fix them. I've helped the rebels survive, and I helped spark the fire. Light the fire. That was spark the rebellion. To bring the First Order down, or something like that. It was an awesome line. I don't want to fucking butcher it. Poe Dameron is a badass. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. And I saw in Chris Stuckman's review, and I did notice this, the direction they took Poe's arc in this movie I really like. Going to Poe now. He had a really good arc in this, as when he was he thought he was right all the time. He thought he was right, and you thought he was right too. You were you agreed with him.
It's kind of a twist on what you think, where it's oh, this authority figure has this stupid plan that's gonna get everybody killed, but this rebellious kind of fiery personality guy is no, you're wrong, but nobody believes him, except, oh, but he's right, of course, and that the authority person is wrong. It's a twist on that.
In this case,
no,
he was wrong.
She had a plan the whole time, and she was collaborating with Leia even.
And Poe was wrong about.
And Poe was oh, I just didn't see the whole picture. And that's kind of a theme throughout this movie, is that not everything is not everything is what it seems. Nothing's black or white, but gray in the middle. And I personally think this is an extremely timely idea to be exploring at this time. I think, very relevant, in my opinion. There's just so much. This is a world of extremes we're living in right now. You're either all this way or all that way or whatever. You suck or you're amazing. The answer is usually almost always just somewhere in the middle, and that's why I think this movie's message is really important, and it makes me appreciate this movie even more. But yeah, Poe, he's probably. I said this to you last night. He might be my favorite character of this new trilogy, even though yes, Rey's amazing. Yes, Kylo Ren's fucking amazing too. And you know what? But Poe, he's just. I like that he's the Han Solo of this new trilogy pretty much. I feel.
I felt like that even in The Force Awakens.
He was originally gonna die in the script. He didn't die. They changed their mind because they liked the actor so much, and now he has a much bigger role, I feel. And I'm really glad that they expanded on his character in this movie, and Oscar Isaac's also just one of my favorite actors working today. I think he's awesome in pretty much everything he does.
Oh.
I've seen Ex Machina, you haven't, but I love him in that too.
Yeah.
But,
Poe immediately gave me Han Solo vibes when I first saw him in The Force Awakens. And I was like,
he's
yeah.
just such a cool
really,
dude. Like, and
yeah.
I was gonna tell you this last night, but in the original trilogy, yes, I liked all the core main characters, but the little offshoot rebel leaders like Captain Antilles or any of those people, I never really liked them that much. I'm like, they're not really that cool. But Poe, I'm like literally like, this dude is a badass.
Yeah.
He is awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of him. And going back to the other characters, Rey and Kylo Ren have an amazing arc in this movie, especially Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. You like.
Let's talk
really
about
compelling,
Kylo Ren.
This character has been one of the most compelling villains in recent memory of any movie franchise.
If you didn't think he was gonna be iconic in the last movie, if you didn't think he was a great villain in the last movie, once you see this movie and see his journey from between these movies, and things become more clear, like his actions from the last movie become more clear, and like the effect they had on him actually, and his mind. He is a great villain.
Yeah, he's still very conflicted.
A very compelling character.
Yeah, still very conflicted. He wants to please Snoke, but he doesn't want to please Snoke anymore. He wants to do this for himself, and you see that. Obviously, the spoiler discussion. He kills Snoke. He cuts him in half, and it was the best scene in the entire movie. Everyone clapped. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was freaking amazing. Look, him and Rey have like some sort of strange connection, which may or may not be because of Snoke. Snoke said he was the one that sort of played with that behind the strings, pulled the strings with that, but then the connection continues anyway after Snoke is fucking Darth Mauled. So like,
so it's
you
weird.
question like, okay, did they have the power the whole time? Was Snoke just bullshitting them, or maybe after they killed Snoke, they became just more in tune with the Force, more powerful, and then they kind of developed it on their own, all sorts of that kind of stuff. But like Rey and Kylo Ren are talking to each other, and it's like almost like a mind battle. Like Rey's trying to bring Kylo to the light, and Kylo's trying to bring Rey to the dark. They both have this weird sort of care for each other,
and like they understand each other in a weird sort of way, and you don't know.
They're both like
don't know where they're gonna go with that.
They're both sort of almost in the middle. They're both in a gray area, but to use like a color analogy, Kylo Ren's more of a dark gray, Rey is more of a light gray, but they're both still kind of gray. So it's like, come on, and Kylo Ren's more like, we need to just restart from everything. Let's just destroy everything and start from scratch. Come on, join me, let's do it. And Rey's like, okay, whoa there, that's a little extreme. I agree that the way of the Jedi and the Sith are both too extreme, and that they need to kind of go away. But I don't want to like just kill everybody. That's not the way to do it. And like,
before that moment, you're like, are they going to turn Kylo Ren into a good guy after he teamed up with Rey against the guards?
Which is pretty much the best scene in the entire freaking movie. The best action sequence. Rey and Kylo Ren versus the Praetorian Guards. It is so fucking amazing.
It's so good.
Badass and awesome. And just,
Anyway, after that spectacular scene, you don't know if Kylo Ren's going to be like, what's going to happen? Is he going to join them? Or like what's gonna happen, and
that's where like the real mind game kind of starts, because Rey and Kylo are trying to like sway each other to join, their side.
And Kylo Ren eventually he's like, I want to destroy everything. He basically takes over the First Order from Supreme Leader
Kylo Ren's like,
he
forget the past, kill it if you have to. Rey's more like, accept the past and move on from it, and it's just like,
and then.
They fight over. They try and get Anakin's lightsaber,
and it's destroyed.
It freaking explodes, breaks in half.
And I was thinking about this, like that lightsaber has been in the saga since the beginning, and it's gone now. It's destroyed.
Well, technically, you could say maybe the Kyber crystal is still intact.
Maybe, so you can maybe rebuild it. But either way, like, so Rey's gonna have to like make a new lightsaber now, I guess. or fix it.
A lot of people are
whatever.
like thinking, oh, is Rey gonna get like a double-bladed lightsaber because she's all staff wielding?
That'd
I don't
be
know.
cool.
We'll see.
That
That'd be
would be
kind of
cool.
cool. But
And then Kylo Ren faces off with Luke Skywalker, but not really.
at the end of
And
this movie, and
that scene was really
like,
good.
literally. And the funny thing about this scene is when Luke first came back, and then Kylo Ren's like, I want you to fire everything at that man. It's like, and then they do it. I'm like, even a little bit before then, I'm like, Luke's probably force projecting himself, like they were doing throughout the movie with Rey and Kylo, and I was like, he's probably force projecting himself. And then, because I was expecting all of them to fire, and then he was just gonna vanish, and then all of a sudden appear again. But like instead, he's still standing there. I'm like, what? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't vanish. Maybe he's just like. Maybe it's just like the Force is like keeping him safe. And then like they fight.
Yeah.
And turns out Luke was a protection. I'm like, oh, I was right. And then a lot of things start to make sense. Like I was like, why does Luke have more brown hair again? Like why is his hair shorter?
Why is his hair shorter?
Why does he
different?
look a little more trim?
Yeah.
And why is he doing this crazy?
Why are the
Matrix
lightsabers
moves?
never connecting with
Why
each
is
other?
Kylo never landing a hit? Why is Luke's have his blue lightsaber?
Yeah, that got
was
destroyed.
a few scenes
So
earlier.
that makes sense. And so eventually Luke, of course, after this scene, he vanishes into the Force. He's able to distract Kylo Ren for long enough for the Resistance to escape. With Rey and the Millennium Falcon. And this leads to a concern because Princess Leia is alive at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder, and they said they're not going to do CG.
And there's a fake out in like towards the beginning almost of this movie where you think Princess Leia dies and you're like, oh, that was kind of anticlimactic. I thought she was supposed to have a bigger role. And then she does this crazy Force shit. And which
she
I bought into
for the first time uses the Force in this franchise. Like you always knew she had it because she always had that. She was able to communicate with Luke through it. She was able to find him in best.
Like
Empire
I was
Strikes
able
Back.
to buy that because I knew she was Force sensitive and I knew they did similar stuff with her in Expanded Universe.
But yeah, it was
never had been done before in the movie.
Pretty awesome that she was able to do that and stuff. So it makes you, but anyway, it makes you wonder how they're gonna handle it.
Well, like some other reviewers said, I would have preferred slightly if they did that in like a more subtle way, and less sort of I'm surviving in space. I'm gonna force pull myself back to this cruiser. It was a tiny bit cheesy.
It was crazy.
But I
was
feel like it could have been
cool.
more of like I think someone said like maybe she could have been trapped in something. She could use the Force to like open like some doors or something if she was trapped somewhere. But like. I've still bought into it. It wasn't anything that made it. There wasn't anything that's a huge flaw for me. And it really makes you wonder how they're gonna handle her in the next movie. Some people are like, yeah, they can do an opening crawl and say Leia has passed, and they could do a big time jump. Yeah. Start with like a joint funeral of Han and Leia, and Luke maybe a funeral of all the original characters. And Chewie's gonna stand there like, who's gonna be sad, and I'm gonna be like, I'll hug you, Chewie, if I were there, which I'm not. Yeah, and then who's gonna be in charge of the Resistance now? Is Poe gonna take over? Because you never know, and or is like I don't know who's gonna take over. Is Rey gonna take a leadership role? Is Rey gonna get with Poe? Is Rey gonna get with Kylo Ren? Okay, listen. Who do you ship? Tell us in the comments below. Listen. I said it first that Poe and Rey are gonna get together. I thought they were gonna get together. Like even before this movie came out, I was like, Rey and Poe should get to, but they haven't even met each other, right? They meet at the end of this movie. They give each other a look. They smile at each other. They're gonna get together in the next movie. Okay, confirmed. They're gonna get together in the next movie. It's gonna happen. And if it happens. The funny thing for like, I can totally see some Kylo Rey shippers, but like, I think one of the reasons for that is like, there's a scene where like, it's kind of funny because sort of like Adam Driver saying a fuck you to people who are like, Kylo Ren's a skinny little bitch. And it's like, you see this scene where Kylo Ren's kind of like shirtless and he's pretty buff and it's like, almost like, hey, Kylo Ren's a skinny little bitch, huh? Fuck you. Yeah. But like, and Rey's like, could you please just put something on? And it's like when they're kind of having a Force link vision. But I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway. But obviously Rey and
Rey and Finn isn't happening.
I feel like they're just still like a really close friend sort of relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that Finn might feel that way about Rey. I don't know for sure still.
Yeah.
Someone feels that way about Finn, Rose. But we don't know
it could just be one-sided.
Yeah, we don't know if Finn feels that way because he doesn't really have much of a reaction. It's more shock, like, what? Oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, because,
But, like,
you know, Finn clearly likes Rey. I mean, from The Force Awakens. And the first thing he says when he wakes up is, Rey! So I really hope they don't...
And then Poe's like, but you must have a thousand questions, and then Finn's just like, where's Rey?
Yeah, so... Clearly, but then again, like, I really hope they don't do a weird love triangle in the next movie, because that'll ruin it.
Yeah, they should just stick with, like, one person if they're gonna do it, and just do that.
Yeah.
Everyone should just have a single, like, relationship. It shouldn't get too, like, crazy and bogged down. But,
Yeah.
like,
so...
Let's really quickly get into the flaws, because, like I said, there are some flaws. And for me in particular, it is the whole Canto Bite sequence, the gambling planet. I don't know why, it felt a little prequel-y to me.
The CGI and the chase
And
scene
I felt like, I mean, it could have been done better.
weird.
I didn't mind Coruscant in the prequels. I thought it was kind of a cool concept, cool idea. It did remind me a little bit of Coruscant, but mostly, and unfortunately, it reminded me of just Earth. It's like, it just feels like a regular casino, except, you know, obviously there's aliens and shit, but, like, it still kind of feels like a regular casino, and there's this dude with a British accent, like, hello, darling, I'm going to roll these dice. It's like, come on, really?
Yeah.
It just feels like a regular Earth casino.
It makes you wonder the point of Benicio del Toro's character and this whole subplot, besides that little end shot of the kid using the Force on the broom. Because his character ends up, like, not even being able to decrypt or he didn't even decrypt the thing in time, and then
he opened the door for them.
Well, he opened the door,
but
that's it. And then, like, they didn't even end up using the hyperspace to escape. They used it in a better... We'll get to that later. But,
like, they
didn't even end up doing
like,
that.
Getting the tracker off or
Yeah,
whatever.
the tracker. So, and then he just betrays them. But
I mean, I guess it's sort of like trying to tie in with the whole message of this movie of how nothing's black and white. Benicio del Toro isn't necessarily good or evil. He's just trying to keep himself alive.
Yeah.
Because you do see him do some good things. Like, he takes Rose's medallion, but then he gives it back to her. But
and it's revealed that in this one scene where he's like, oh, the rebellion bought weapons from these illegal guys as well, and the Empire did. So it's like, wow, you know, they're back to the gray area thing. I really like that little scene.
Yeah, I feel like it. I mean, yeah.
I like that aspect of his character.
Like,
he's a good actor. He's
kind
charismatic.
of like random little. I mean, I guess they're trying to maybe go for a Lando vibe, but like, and then there's like, some people thought this was cheesy. BB-8 taking control of the not the ATA.
He took control of like
he
took control of like all of them at once. But it was cool because it led to our little fight.
It helped them escape, but that was cool.
Finn and Captain Phasma. Captain Phasma's in the movie for like 15 minutes, then she dies. What was the point of that?
Yeah, I'm like,
anyway.
They even make it almost seems like they wanted to do more because like Finn hits her in the face with the executioner thingy, and then her helmet's broken. You can see her eye. It's like, is that supposed to show that she's more human? Is Finn gonna like spare her because he sees that she's like human, and all that sort of stuff? But then no, Finn just has this cheesy one-liner where he's like,
"You're scum."
And then
Rebel scum,
and then she just dies, and I'm like, okay, that was a movie moment right there. That was a cheesy movie moment.
But you know, it is Star Wars. You gotta have some of those. But like I feel like they could have done more.
I felt like they could have. I felt like if Finn spared Captain Phasma and she managed to escape or something, I feel like that would have done more for the story as a whole. I think that just would have been a better way to go about it. But
they Boba Fetted her essentially.
They Boba Fetted her, yeah. And like almost to the point where people might speculate that she's somehow alive.
Yeah.
It's almost, they might even do that, and she might just totally get Boba Fetted. But like,
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah.
I mean,
so
she
I wasn't a
survived
huge fan of that.
base being blown up.
But
she survives this now.
Yeah.
It's like, well, now it's like.
Well, despite that, also I was gonna like, despite the flaws I have with the whole storyline, I wasn't as. Like, I liked it a little bit more once they got onto the Star Destroyer base thingy.
Yeah.
I thought
because
it felt okay. Now we're back into this, at least the Star Wars world. It's still, at least now it feels like still a Star Wars movie. Even if it's a cheesy Star Wars movie, it still feels like Star Wars. So I didn't mind it as much.
You had that redeeming, amazing scene where Snoke dies and they fight the Praetorian Guards on that.
Well, that wasn't part of the Finn.
No, it wasn't. But Finn was on the Star Destroyer.
But yeah,
so
I felt like the main redeeming thing of that storyline was the Phasma Finn fight, which was short, but it was cool. It didn't end very well, but like
I wish it lasted
still.
longer.
And I liked when Rose just shot Captain Phasma a couple times, and then the bullets are just like, and I'm like, oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
But
But,
yeah,
like,
that armor's more than just for show. But
so
you know,
Captain Phasma,
still wasn't enough. So rip Captain.
Yoda shows up in this movie.
Yes.
Force Ghost Yoda.
How can we not mention Yoda?
Yeah. Brought a
Holy
huge
shit!
smile to my face to see him.
I saw Yoda. I was like,
And
I mean, some people said it almost felt like they used the puppet from Phantom Menace and Empire, and I could sort of see that. Where at the beginning I was like, it doesn't really remind me of Empire Yoda, but it's Yoda, so I'm still really happy.
Yeah.
But then towards the end of the scene, it felt more like Empire Yoda, and I was a little bit more happy. But I was just happy to see Yoda in general, and Frank Oz being Yoda.
yeah, right when I saw Yoda, I was like,
Yoda! I never thought I'd see you again, Yoda.
Never thought I'd ever see Yoda.
You even hear Yoda's theme a little bit. Some notes of Yoda's theme.
And
I'm like, oh,
bops
so
Luke,
happy.
And he bops Luke with a stick, just like in the originals.
It's just
and it's
so great to see Yoda.
Such a great throwback they did there, and I really enjoyed it. And call me nostalgic, but yeah, I'm nostalgic. Like Yoda,
it's
come on.
Motherfucking Yoda.
Yeah,
come on.
Tell me you didn't love that scene. Tell me that
like,
with a straight face.
That's why I was able to look past it. This kind of looks like not original trilogy Yoda. I mean, it's still puppet Yoda, but it doesn't quite remind me.
Yeah.
But I look past it just because, you know, it's freaking Yoda, and I love him. And I'm so happy that he's just back in any form in the movie. And it also introduced this really cool concept where it's like, yes, he's a Force ghost, but he is so powerful in the Force that he can still interact with the physical world. He made that lightning bolt come down and burn down the Force tree.
Yeah, which is a new thing they introduced with this movie. The Force visions, you can actually interact with the other person, kinda. What they first showed with Kylo getting the the rain on his glove, and like you can actually and then Rey and Kylo like touch, and Luke sees him, and he's like, no,
But that explains why everyone, not just Kylo or Rey, was able to see Luke when he projected himself.
So the Force projections is a new thing that some fans might have a problem with.
I liked it though. I thought it was implemented really well.
A new thing they introduced that is really cool.
I thought it was implemented really well. The only thing is, for me, it kind of opens up a little bit of a plot hole where like Kylo fights Luke, and Luke uses all of his energy to like project himself into that onto Crate, and like then it uses up so much of his energy that he kind of passes. But it also, like, it can be debated that it isn't a continuity error, but like when Rey like shoots Kylo, he doesn't like die. He's just like he sort of kind of feels it, but then he's just like, oh, okay, never mind.
It was just a vision. Yeah, so
I mean, I guess like I don't know, you could say that Luke, obviously he wasn't actually physically hurt by Kylo Ren, but he just kind of felt like it was his time, so he left. Which, that's true. That's just kind of a little question that's sort of there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But this movie just has so many great moments that's why I like it. I feel more than Force Awakens. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch the Force Awakens
so
again,
many
but just
Star Wars moments are gonna be iconic coming in the future.
Iconic moments that will be iconic in the future, and there's also like literally one of the most spectacular like visual scenes of the movie is when that lady that was leading the resistance after Leia was in.
Played by the girl from Jurassic Park. I don't know the actress's name, but she did a great job.
Which girl from Jurassic Park?
She was in Jurassic Park. The lady who played the lady who did the hyperspace thing.
Which Jurassic Park?
The first Jurassic Park.
Who was she?
She was, I don't know her character's name.
One of the funny things, she kind of reminded me of Bryce Dallas Howard from Jurassic World.
But no, she was in the first Jurassic Park.
Oh, that was her.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just realizing that now. That's cool. But
anyway,
her when Leia was like recuperating or whatever, the lady who took over. But she sacrifices herself so that the rebel escape pod can get to Crate, and she just freaking it's like, you know what? Fuck you, Star Destroyer. Guess what? I'm using hyperspeed as a weapon. When he just cuts it in half.
Cuts through like a bunch of them.
Cuts the Star Destroyer in half, and I'm like,
that was like one of the coolest shots in the entire saga.
So cool.
It was so cool, and they've never done that before. So it was like one of the other things that they haven't done before, like so they can still do new things with what's established already in
more than just
the Star Wars continuity, more than just the Force, which is cool. You want to introduce new stuff.
It adds a whole new layer to the rebels are space terrorists. thing because like it was basically a kamikaze, except hyperspeed galactic scale
And
kamikaze.
it was amazing.
But it was fucking amazing.
So,
that
yeah,
was really awesome. And
I gotta see this movie again before I can give it a rating, though. I gotta see it a second time.
I mean,
And I plan on seeing it a second time. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I cannot decide.
You saying that makes me feel like I should watch it again before I give a rating,
Yeah.
but I really, like, I have some flaws with movies for sure, but overall, the highs were so high and so memorable and, like, unforgettable that
unforgettable moments.
I think it just puts it above Force Awakens for me. I feel like it's, even though it might not be as even as The Force Awakens, I just feel like it's more memorable. So, I don't know, I was gonna give it a 9. I was only gonna take it down a point from, like, all the minor gripes and then the whole Canto Bite thing, but, I don't know, that might end up actually being my score, because I feel like that's a pretty fair score, because it's, like, you know, Canto Bite is a decent chunk of the movie, so it's not like I can only take it off, like, 0.2 or whatever, it was, like, a 30-minute thing, so, like, it was a pretty big chunk of the movie, which it wasn't entirely bad, but it wasn't.
It wasn't something that was necessary for you to see. You could have gotten up and went to the bathroom during that scene, which I regret not doing because the 501st was at the IMAX theater while we were in the movie.
Yeah, and I thought that was a dumbass decision on their part. No offense to the 501st, if any members are watching this, which I doubt you are because nobody watches their videos. But if why would they go out during the movie, during the IMAX? They came out during the IMAX screening, and it's not like our theater doesn't do multiple IMAX screenings at a time. So
the next IMAX screening they were gonna do was at 6:30.
So yeah, we were in the only IMAX screening that was going on at the time. So like, you would think that they would stay and like wait for like the people that saw the movie to come out, and then boom, there's the 501st. That would be amazing. Yeah. But no, they just go out in the middle of the movie. It's like, why?
So only the people
that pissed me
who
off,
were there early for the next showing saw them. Which, by the way, I know a person. Sarah was there. Our friend who directed a play we were in. Actually,
she saw them.
She saw them. Yeah. She took pictures with them and stuff, and I was like, I messaged her. I was like,
talk to her about how like we.
Yeah.
Like, we're literally in the movie.
Yeah, I was like, I was in the movie. I'm so jealous. And she's like, oh my god. Yeah. So there you go.
Literally, I knew they were coming out too. I went to the bathroom, and then I came out of the bathroom. I saw a guy with a 501st pin on his shoulder. I'm like, are you an actual member of the 501st? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, when are you guys coming out? He's like, oh, we're suiting up right now. I'm like, oh, well, when are you leaving? He's like, probably about 6. I'm like, what? So I'm like, I thought I maybe misheard him and that they were coming out at 6 because that's right around the time the movie ended and we were getting out. So they left like almost right when we were getting out of the movie.
Yeah, because we got out about 6:15.
I felt like
they were gone.
I felt like that was a really poor, like, marketing decision. Honestly,
I'm salty.
A
that
little.
I missed them.
It was just poor planning. I think.
I'm salty
I wouldn't call it marketing because they're not making any money,
No.
but like, it's just a poor planning. I think.
Anyway.
They could have gotten so much more out of it, and I would have been much less salty as fuck if they were still there when we came out.
Yeah.
But we did get free IMAX posters.
We got free IMAX posters.
You want to see that right now before we close out this video because it's going on for hella long? There it is, right there. Yeah. Finally got a free IMAX poster.
Hey, we're handing those out.
They're handing them out.
Surprised there was any left because the midnight screenings were last night. Or not last night, the night before. We saw it last night. The Thursday night screenings already happened, so we assumed like, oh, they would probably all be gone, but they had a bunch.
So, anyways, yeah, that rant aside, let's end this now because it's gone on for a while. I thought this was a long video, but I thought it was a good discussion. Last Jedi, what do you think about it? Give your opinion in the comments below. Don't be a dick about it, or I will be a dick back. So
constructive criticism.
Yeah, let's talk.
What'd
let's
you like?
Just have a
What'd
nice.
you dislike?
Let's just have a nice little debate and discuss like what we liked, what we didn't like. Let's be civilized people. I've had a few civilized discussions on the internet, and I thought it was really good. It was a good time. Everybody learned from the experience. So be civilized.
Yeah. Be honest though. What did you think of the movie? Were you one of the people who loved it? Were you one of the people who didn't like it?
Give us reasons why.
And
that aren't crappy. Like, I don't care if your Snoke's Jar Jar theory didn't come true. That's not a legit reason, in my opinion, to not like the movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that,
let us know, guys.
We will see you guys in whatever video we decide to do next. We might do a list of, like, our favorite movies of the year. It might be a top 5, it might be a top 10. We'll figure that out. But that being said, we might do a Christmas vlog. I don't know. But We will see you guys in the next video. There's definitely a movie I think you should see, though. You probably already seen it because it's Star Wars, so yeah. Bye, guys. Have a good one.